Well, welcome back to the SCG, where the Sydney Swans lead the Bombers by 18 points. Mark Thompson, thanks for joining us. What can you do from a coaching point of view when the conditions are the way they are?
Well, I think you shouldn't do too much, Kingy. It's pretty simple, isn't it? You've got to bore in, have the numbers, win the ball, and just get some distance forward, like your old coach would say, Dennis Pagan.
Well, he's not here tonight. It's James Hurd that's pumping the message at halftime. What would he be saying? What would he be reinforcing?
I think he'd be saying, the effort was pretty good around the ball. They probably opened us up a little bit, and it's just very hard to get a kick. It's very hard to mark the ball, so it's just getting it all back to basics, and I think he'd be probably saying that.
What can you do with your forward line? Because they're getting some supply, the quality's probably not there because of the conditions. Is there anything you can do structurally to change it to try and get a marking target in there?
Well, I reckon you've got to try and keep it as open as you can without allowing an outnumber back there, because an outnumber is just deadly, isn't it? They can, so we don't want the Swans to have spares, but we want some space. So it's a little bit about movement and getting people to the fall of the ball if the ball does come in, because it's pretty much going to go to the ground.
I was here a fortnight ago, and Fremantle come late, come hard, and kick 4 late goals to nearly steal that game. Is that the message at halftime?
Absolutely. I think we're in the game. We're pretty happy. We know that we're definitely not out of it, and if we keep persisting, and this is a good game for us to play in. We love these sorts of games. We cannot get enough of these sorts of games where they're really pressurised and tight, because that's what finals are all about.
Oh, very good. Thanks for your time.
Sorry about your jacket, mate. Look at this.
It's tough on the boundary, mate. That's how it is. I'll throw back up to the man upstairs who's sitting up there in the nice warm climate. Chase, over to you.
Yes, thanks, Kingy. It is tough conditions. Sydney fans would love to see Sam Reid running around the SCG at the moment. Unfortunately, he's out injured. Has been good enough to stop in and have a quick chat to us. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Now, a quad injury, we believe. Give us the update and how long before we see you back in action?
Yeah, slight nick on the quad. Hopefully after the bye we're aiming for, so we'll see how that goes. Probably get checked out Monday, but hopefully after the bye.
All right, given the first 9 weeks of the season, or the first 8 or 9 weeks of the season, how would you rate your own form thus far?
I think the previous few weeks have probably been building a bit. That's what's a bit annoying to get injured at this stage. But probably started a bit slow and was struggling a little bit early on. But felt like I was starting to build some consistent footy and finding the ball a bit more, playing higher up the ground.
Yeah, that looked to be the key, Sammy. Just getting higher up the ground. Also, a couple of stints in the back line I thought really freed you up, allowed you to go for the mark. I mean, the big mark against the Dockers was obviously pretty important in the context of the game. But certainly I thought last week against Collingwood, you looked a lot better as that high half forward coming up the ground, trying to drag, I guess, your brother out. But when he sat back, you really got some good access to the football.
Yeah, it's trying to get a bit of a balance and using my strengths and one of my strengths more so probably my run than my body, given my size. So trying to get up around the midfield and get on the end of a few shorter kicks and lead-ups, getting a bit more easy ball rather than waiting for it to come to me and having to contest with big guys.
It was a great win over Collingwood, but what happens when you do play on your brother? There's got to be a little bit of byplay going on.
It's a bit strange. It's always a bit weird. It's good fun. I do enjoy it. But nothing said as much as everyone asks me. There's nothing said. I actually caught up with him straight after the game. He came to the hotel and actually ordered room service, so it cost me a few dollars there. But it's always good fun, and I'm glad we got the win.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate from the academy to have Kurt Tippett out helping our young forwards, body contests and that, Jay. So just for you, Sam, how important has it been to have Kurt up there? Obviously he hasn't been playing, but he seems to have been a really important part of the club, particularly training and helping around pre-game and I guess post-game as well.
Yeah, he's never short of a bit of his experience, and he shares plenty with me every week. He'll come in with me and watch my tape with the coaches to have his input with anything he thinks I can do better or need improvement on. So he's definitely handy, and I can't wait till he's in the side to play alongside.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a real treat for Sydney fans when they get to see the two of you playing together in the forward 50. Mate, thanks for popping in, spending a couple of minutes with us, and we hope to see you back fresh after the bye.
No worries, thanks boys.
All right, it's 18 points the margin here at half-time at the SCG. The second half is coming your way, and that man there, a special tribute after the break.
After an emotional and exhaustive week, I'm sure Adam Goodes was delighted to get out on the ground for the Swans against the Bombers tonight. And after a slow start, he started to really have some impact in that second quarter. Maybe a little bit of a guilty look there after he took the mark. The umpire gave it the tick. A little wink and a nod from Adam Goodes. The goal taking the Swans to an 18-point lead. And sometimes you can forget about what a great player he is on the ground. Well, Mike Sheehan pays this tribute to Adam Goodes.
Lockett, Kelly, O'Loughlin, Kirk, Healy, Williams, Roos and Hall. Immortal names all of them in the rich history of the Sydney Swans. To that list, add the name of Adam Goodes, one of the rare breed to win legend status while still building on his contribution to his football club. Goodes is a towering figure on the football landscape of recent years and a giant among Swans. He is the only player in the history of the game with a CV that includes 300 games, 400 goals, 2 premierships, 2 Brownlow medals and the captaincy of his club. Even now, with no hint of retirement on the horizon, he is the games record holder in Sydney with 329, which ranks equal 21st in the 117-year history of the AFL. He is an inspiring leader on 2 fronts, as a Swan and as a brilliant, bold, courageous Indigenous player. The shy youngster who has grown into a commanding figure over 15 years. In the 2012 Grand Final, he led in the truest sense of the word, playing injured as a co-captain, then kicking the goal that put the Swans 7 points clear in the last quarter, on the way to their epic 10-point win. Opinions will vary as to who has made the most profound contribution to the Swans in their time in Sydney. Safe to say, none has done more for the red and white cause than the man in the number 37 Guernsey.
Marvellous ambassador for our great game, Adam Goodes. Maximum damage is his go, and tonight he's only had the 6 disposals, but he's set to light the place up in the second half. Kicked a late goal, which was very, very important. Some significant news on the injury front down here, lads, is that the injury to Walsh, the hamstring, he did it just charging to the boundary line. He really jolted that knee back up. The back leg there, you can just see, you can nearly see that hamstring, the belly of the hamstring give way as that jolt up that left thigh. He couldn't even make his way to the bench. He had to be assisted down to the rooms and was immediately substituted out of the game, and that is the end of him. It brought Tom Mitchell onto the ground for his debut, which was fantastic, and he hit the ground running. The problem for me is for the Essendon Football Club to win this game, they need to correct their forward line. They need to find an option up forward that will give them a chance to kick a score. Their ball use going in has been next to dysfunctional. I think if they can get a creative forward down there who's a midfielder, the loose ball gets in the forward line is where this game's going to be won. Can they use a Watson down there? Can they use a Goddard down there to crumb those balls and with class and quality kick the opportunities that are required? It's going to be one of those nights. It's going to be a slog to the death. I think Watson and Goddard hold the fortunes for the Bombers. Can they do it, Hutto? I can't wait to find out.
Kingy, what about the weather? It still looks like it's raining pretty consistently.
Yeah, it is. It's only light fall at the moment. It's not too bad. It's just making it very slippery, but it's not really having a major impact on the play, I wouldn't have thought.
Well, Roosie, it's only 3 goals. That's not a lot.
No, I think the Bombers are well in the game. We heard Bomber Thompson talk about that at half-time with King. No question, they're in the game. It's 18 points. They just have to adjust a few things. I'd like them to actually drag McVeigh and Melcheski back to the goal square. I'd almost say switch up your forward line. Pull your talls out to half forward and put your smalls in the goal square. And I think that would make a huge difference because McVeigh and Melcheski have absolutely slaughtered the Bombers. 19 possessions and 13, but their effectiveness has been 69 and 75%. So they're using the ball when they're getting it.
So James Hird wasting no time. He's decided to sub Scott Gumbleton off the ground for the start of the third quarter. Young Will Hams gets his opportunity. We'll see him straight away, or very shortly. There he is. We will see him shortly in the fray as Stanton takes it along and over the boundary line.
Very important that Essendon don't concede the first goal here. Just got to give themselves, I mean, as soon as you make it a close contest again, it's up for grabs. The pressure will start to tell on each and every possession, but what they can't afford to do is allow a break to open up here in these conditions.
Kennedy to the top of the square. Decisive hit from Hooker, and it's over the line.
Well, the other thing about the SCG, Jason, is it's a small ground, centre clearances. So you win 2 or 3 centre clearances and you're right back in the game if you can score from it.
There's young Hams, a touch of
the big job.
Dyson Heppel about the hairstyle and where he's from, Gippsland boy. Really impressed in the VFL for the Bombers and earned his spot even though he's only 18 years of age. Coming in as a late change for Howlett today. And he's got it already. There we go with his first good connection. Up to the wing. Knocked away from Ryder. Gathered by Watson. Had time just to size it up, and he did it in an instant. Got it to Bagley, and now Hibbert charging across the ground. Jetta, Rampy, close supervision, but it wasn't a great kick. And what a mark! What an effort from Bolton.
They had a real opportunity there, but the kick from Leroy Jetta was an absolute shocker.
Rampy, Goods, threatening again here. Well, the man who saved the day, as he has so often, was Fletcher. Off the ground, Hocking might be regretting that now because Kennedy was in the best position for the Swans. Bird weaving to get onto the left. High ball, McGlynn not sure whether to go up or try and stay down for the crumbs. Neville was a little more decisive.
They got the overlap here.
They have to move it quickly. Booker's handball eventually reaches Dempsey. Ignored Jetta initially and decided to try and slice and dice through the middle. Zaharakis.
That was a conscious effort to bring it back into the corridor when they had the option.
As if under strict instruction. Oh, look at that for a crunch.
That was a courageous effort. It was an absolute hospital kick.
I don't know who's come off second best. They're both down. Dempsey and Smith.
Nick Smith and Dempsey. Dempsey, what a courageous effort.
Windling, high to the square. Bellchambers got free. Mumford had beat them all at the back. We know how effective Cramery's been when he's got the ball to boot. Still sitting on 2 kicks for 2 goals.
Yeah, good contest, both boys, but certainly Dempsey coming back. He's still down on the ground. I wouldn't be surprised, just maybe ribs or...
Let's hope he's just badly winded.
He's in a bad way at the moment. Jack got the bounce he needed.
I mean, you could see what the Bombers were trying to do, but the kick did sell him up the river a little bit, did it?
No doubt, no doubt.
I think they need to get the stretcher out there while they make a decision here on Dempsey. They're playing one man short at the moment.
Stanton, close to the line, and it's over and out.
He started to get up, and then obviously went back down on the ground. So look, hopefully he's just winded, but...
Gee, it's a long wind.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Bellchambers flashing through Hocking. That's inspirational stuff. Again to the one-on-one. Cramery didn't mark it. It's not over yet, though. Jetta came through. Richards. Oh, Cramery, that's a big impact. Great tackling, great pressure. The fumble from Grundy in the greasy conditions. Smith, he had Melcheski as insurance. Low ball, boundary line, most likely destination.
That's an opportunity lost because Cramery had that ball in his possession. He took his eyes off it, as we see Dempsey still getting plenty of attention.
Yeah, a bit of blood coming out too, so it's not good signs. There's still one down on the ground.
I think they're calling for a stretcher now. It's been a fair while now.
It's been signalled for, so the umpires have stopped the game.
Now, I know there's been a lot of debate about the sub rule, Jason. Clearly, we're not going to go over that. But this is where, again, you're now going to have a player that's coming off, potentially maybe not play again, and you've got a healthy guy sitting on the bench.
Yep.
And that's one of the problems, I think, the coaches and players. If a guy, because of the subbed out, we saw Hams come on for Gumbleton. So now you've got Gumbleton completely healthy, and you've got an injured player potentially that's he's going to come off for at least a certain amount of time.
You could almost look at using the same rule for concussion. Because there's a term that the player has to spend off when he goes off on a stretcher anyway, that the sub can be used for that time that he's off on a stretcher, and then you make a decision one way or the other.
Kingy?
Yeah, look, I agree with all of that, but I'm just having a look tonight at in terms of the game as we see, unfortunate this incident taking Dempsey from the ground, but just having a look at the numbers down here and looking at Brent Stanton and his influence on the night, it's been profound. I know that it hasn't gone on the scoreboard just yet, but that's more because of the forward line not being functional at the moment for the Bombers. He's had the 19 disposals. There they are, those little dots around the ground there. You can see Essendon kicking to the right of screen. He's had 4 score involvements of his 19 disposals. 440 metres gained. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that is a significant amount. It's the highest on the field at the moment. He's gone inside 55 times, and really they should have got more for his work up the field. It'll be a matter of time before they correct this forward line, but Stanton's doing his role tonight.
Certainly getting plenty of it. Isn't it amazing that you always get an injury within a couple of minutes of using your sub?
Well, and I think that's why in the first year of the sub last year, coaches weren't bringing the sub on at all, because there was... And because of that, they very rarely got caught out. What we're seeing this year, the coaches are using subs more from a tactical point of view and trying to change the game. And now, what we're seeing with James Hird now, there's a risk that's been taken by bringing Hams on, and the risk has backfired because all of a sudden you've got Gumbleton as a healthy player on the bench, and we've got Dempsey going off the ground.
Well, let's just hope he's okay.
And that's certainly going to test the fitness of the Bombers. I mean, if you're down the rotation and there's pretty much another half of football still to go in tough, heavy, slogging conditions, there are going to be some players looking for a rest at different stages.
I guess the only advantage, not an advantage, but sometimes in the wet conditions, Jason, it's just more that the heaviness of the ground. It's not you actually covering as much distance, because we're seeing now the ball's generally quick kick. So it's not the actual running, it's more the bumps and the bruises and getting up off the ground. So it's sort of a different type of fitness.
We've seen teams overcome these odds before, that's for sure. McGlynn getting it back towards the line, Bird. So Sydney 6-7-43, Essendon 3-7-25.
A couple of the battles, Roosie. Jobe Watson's had 15, Ryan O'Keefe's had 13 and a goal. Pretty even?
Yeah, pretty even. I mean, both those guys have... I mean, it's one of those sort of trench warfare games, isn't it, at the moment? You're not seeing great reward from anyone's... I think the ones that are standing out have been McVeigh and Melcheski for me in terms of the reward for effort. McVeigh's on 20, Kennedy's got 20, but he's more of an insider. But certainly McVeigh's the one that's getting a lot out of the ball use from him. And here he is again. He's the one that's always back on it, always tidies up, and generally makes the right decision.
Grundy got it to Jetta, a long way from home. He saw Goods straight away. Fine line, it was out on the full.
And the other one is Heath Hockings had 9 possessions. He's kept Dan Hanbury to 9 and no score. That, to me, represents a win for Essendon.
Yeah, no question. I think what it illustrates too, though, Jason, is the depth. Now you can, and I like the idea of the run with play, and I think they've done a good job with that. But there's got so much depth, the Swans, that if Hanbury doesn't get you, McVeigh will, Kennedy will, Jack will, even Bird. I mean, Bird hasn't played a lot through the midfield. He has tonight. He's generally a half forward, defensive half forward. He's up to 15. So they're certainly very, very deep in their midfield.
Good old afternoon for an ice cream. Not going to bother the young ones though. Quick kick, McVeigh, Parker. Pike fed it beautifully through to Bird. Henry does open up through the middle, although still decides to go on the outer side to Goods. Jetta, it's about the bell, he didn't let it bounce. Jetta, big, long, winding kick. The crowd willing it, hoping it would head to home. It didn't. Oh, Hanbury was cleaned up.
That's a free kick to Hanbury.
He ran 100 metres, Dan Hanbury. He ran from half-back, sprinted to the goal square. Yeah. He got goal side of Hocking. It was a great chase. Just didn't get the bounce he was looking for.
Just going to have a look at that a little later. Here's an opportunity for Kieran Jack, and the ball just didn't go the way he wanted.
That's probably as clean an opportunity as we've seen tonight. Is there a free kick here? He slides in.
That's a definite free kick.
Head contact, wasn't it?
Head contact and a slide. It's a double free kick.
Again, a big thumper almost into the centre circles. So the Bombers realising the urgency of the situation, getting it forward. Melksham, the centre half forward.
He positioned himself well, Ted Richards.
They do that extremely well. Richards, Grundy, Melcheski, they're all very good at sliding up and being the last person. So what Sydney get what Essendon don't get. Sydney get that slingshot, but the Sydney defence won't let you get it because there's always one back in the defensive 50, generally Richards or Grundy.
Well, they make it seem simple, Ruzzy. It makes us think, well, how do other teams get caught out?
Yeah, well, that surprises me, definitely, because that's, they've got a real brand that they play. And look, I think it's a matter of this is so good. They're very disciplined. They executed brilliantly, and they keep doing the same thing over and over again. It's a case of, we know what we're going to do, but good luck stopping us. And that's the attitude that they have, and they're very, very well drilled in doing it.
Did you see that they've still got their nose in front in terms of inside 50s, the Bombers? And we heard Bomber Thompson say they just need to be a little bit more efficient going forward.
Yeah, Paul, was that a push and a shove? Yeah. But it was paid.
Two-handed push in the back.
Well, the mistake there he made was let Grundy get in front of him.
Mitchell marks at half back. Impressive opening quarter. Kingy.
So the one thing the Bombers have lost tonight is their ability to use that ball with their short kicking. That's their go. That's been their plan all year, retention through short kicking, and the conditions have taken that off them.
Stanton around the corner. Ryder again just slightly out of position.
Yeah, you're right, Kingy. They're number 2 in short kicks, but number 1 in effective kicks, Essendon. So it has been part of their game plan that's been completely stripped back by the weather.
They trail by 19 as it stands. Pike.
I think it's indicative of Stanton's ruck. As you mentioned, Stanton covering the ground, but both those two have had 21 and 17 possessions, but their disposal efficiency is at 41 and 27. Generally, they're going to be short kicking players, hitting targets, running and carrying the football, but they haven't been really effective with their disposals. They're getting plenty of it.
Heppel, Cramery.
One of the other interesting things to notice, Ruzi, if you look at Sydney's had 234 possessions, 132 kicks, 102 handballs.
Yeah.
Essendon's had 210 possessions, 143 kicks, only 67 handballs. So they're going more than 2 to 1 in the ratio, whereas Sydney have still been able to handball and carry the ball a bit.
Yeah, Sydney are very good with their hands around stoppages, getting out, getting free. And they're still pretty sure, even in these conditions, they're happy to flick it around and get it out. Whereas, you're right, we're just seeing Essendon continually. They're up to 35 inside 50s now for 3 goals. It's a very, very poor return. Obviously, the conditions aren't conducive to high scores, but they're just banging it in, banging it in, banging it in. They haven't really adjusted even after half time.
Almost oversimplified the game too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hooker.
Oh, that's a dangerous kick.
He rolls it. Right.
That's it, got out in the back.
Myers misfires the handball. Has to go and retrieve the situation. Didn't really make it much better. Yeah, but they eventually work it though. To half forward. Oh, they almost got caught in each other's way, but Belchambers stayed afloat and he's taken the mark, and he is a goal kicker.
No, this is an important kick. He's looking around. He's got to go back and just make sure he kicks this for the Bombers. Gets them right back in the contest. Low-scoring match.
Yep.
Marks inside 50 have come at a premium tonight. He judged it a little bit better. Just giving the ball a wipe with the jumper. I don't know how much that's going to dry it, given how wet the jumper would be, but massive kick this for Essendon.
13-4 for the season for Tom Belchambers. Till tonight, and that one is through. What a connection, and what a goal for the Bombers. And of course, this game close, and these two clubs have had some terrific close finishes. One of the most famous points of all time back in 1996. Tony Lockett put them into the grand final. Unfortunately, a behind wasn't what Adam Goods was after in 2011 after the siren. But that's all he could manage. And then last year it was Courtney Dempsey as the Bombers had a massive comeback in the last quarter, but just fell short, agonisingly short. And a history of tight games. Are we set for the same again? We're back to 13 points at the SCG. The rain continues to tumble. The all-important first goal has gone Essendon's way. But here, out of the middle, goes Kieran Jack and Pike. What a massive piece of it, not paid.
Nearly paid in the conditions.
I looked away. I thought he was actually going to pay the mark.
Mitchell to Pike again. They're swarming around. And Adam Goods on the left. He's got it! He's got it! What about that for an answer from Goods?
Well, it all started to set a clearance chase, and that would have been the most disappointing thing. Obviously, Adam Goods kicked a terrific goal on the left, but the most disappointing thing from the Essendon Footy Club is the centre clearance. Straight down. If that's not a mark, it's probably not a mark, but maybe a free kick.
Clip in the head.
The head. Should have actually got one or the other. Probably not the mark. And then look at that. Ball hits the ground. Outnumber. Just a fumble, and then just walks through. That's a really good finish on the left with a slippery ball.
Two telling goals from Adam Goods after a very quiet start to this game.
But that's the key, Hunter. You don't have to have 30 touches like he did last week to be one of the most influential players on the ground on a night like this. It's about quality, not quantity. And he's got a couple of goals next to his name. And there's only 2 players on the ground that have kicked 2 goals. Stuart Cramery's only had 2 kicks.
Yep. Out again through Stanton. Rampy came hard. Zaharakis, the onus back on the Bombers again. Heppel, a one-on-one, deep and beautifully read by Winderlich, but
just the hands. It's a tough one. Soft hands, you'll try and parry the ball and really take it at the second grab almost. He just caught it on the fingertips a bit too much.
Yeah, good point. You almost need to just drop it down in front of you, don't you? Even if you mark it, it stays in front.
Oh, that's a rare error from Jared McVeigh. He doesn't do that too often.
That's hit the pie stand, that one.
Cranberry's in range if it's his kick, because he's a booming kick. No, it's going to go to Hibbert.
He's also a big kick. Not so familiar with the sticks. But he can wind up here. And it is shaping beautifully. Might just drop short on the line. Behind walk through. So 17 points. 4-9 the Bombers now play 7-8. McVeigh quick to take an opening. Look, Jetta.
I saw it.
Oh, he did too.
He just slipped. He saw Jetta going.
That was the perfect slingshot.
Yeah.
There was nobody behind him. It was kicking to space over the back and letting Jetta run onto it.
Goods found a way to get it to Bird.
Oh, another shank.
They were trying to get it to Jetta, but away it went. Stanton, Goddard, Stanton comes again. Relentlessly, he's pushing the Bomber cause across the common. Now it's really opened up ahead, just inside the 50. Myers can go back and have this shot.
And look, he'll kick from just outside 50, but that's not a factor for David Myers. He's an enormous kick. He's got the big left leg. It's all going to come down to accuracy. We spoke earlier about taking your chances. Sydney's kicked 7-8, Essendon 4 goals 9. So they've just wasted too many opportunities. These set shots, got to make them count. We saw Bell Chambers kick a beauty a couple of minutes ago. Myers has got to match that effort.
And would get them within 11 points. Just holding up. He hasn't made the strike you would have liked there out of bounds on the foot.
That's a long way off target.
He's a nice kick too, but it's just a horrible kick. Yeah, horrible kick.
So it stays 17 points between the two teams. Grundy takes the most conservative and probably the best option out to half-back, despite the efforts of Bell Chambers. It's out of bounds.
It's almost like on the slow counter-attack, Sydney know it's not a scoring play. They just play slow and wide, methodical, and wait for that slingshot one at speed, which is always around the corner when they absorb the inside 50s that they do.
Joe Watson's gone forward again for the Bombers. He's playing out of the square. Ted Richards has picked him up.
Watson 16 disposals for the night so far. Bird was able to hold sway there with the boot. This is Mitchell. He's been very impressive on debut. Sets it up for Jetta.
Got Goods one out.
A state goal side of him. Vacant square. He can do more than just run. He can gun with big long kicks as well like that. He lands a blow.
That's where it hurts you. That's the 2-goal turnaround. You miss a set shot at one end, and then really a goal that quickly came out of nothing. They just broke clear on the wing, had a couple of players running forward. This is the kick here. He had Goods running one way, Jetta running the other, and he just waited it where Jetta had to turn and come at him. Then Adam Goods led back up at him, which left the goal square open. And you can see Carlisle desperately trying to get back, but he couldn't get there in time.
But the distinct difference is, as Kingy mentioned before, Sydney will absorb the pressure. Yeah. Sydney won't let that goal go through because Teddy Richards will be on the goal line running back. Grundy will be on the goal line running back. The other end of the ground, they're able to tease up their defenders, tease them up, absorb, and then bang, they go and they kick a goal.
Tom Mitchell, amazing.
That's a free kick against Essendon for sliding in, Hutto. That was a dangerous one. Players running very, very quickly at the footy, and McVeigh, he had to hurdle the Essendon play because he would have had his legs taken out.
Over to Jetta, and again he gains some territory for the Sydney Swans, gets them inside the 50. Carlisle, O'Keefe, Bagley, Jetta hacked it back to the middle. Crucial ball. Winderlich again got rid of his man. This time he collects and goes for a monstrous kick in the wet, greasy conditions. It goes on and on. It has a look and it gets there. What a kick.
We might have to measure that one. That's a 75-metre goal. Yeah. And it didn't have much to spare at the end. I felt for Joe Watson because he was the one that had to turn and run after it. He had a 10-metre break and got very quickly hauled in by 2 Sydney defenders. But have a look at Winderlich. He gets it middle of the ground of 2 steps. So he's just the attacking side of the centre circle. Joe Watson gets reeled in by all and sundry. But look at the bounce and then it just corrects, straightens. Oh, perfect.
Yeah, Windlick's the one that looks most like scoring down here. He's the dangerous player.
A massive goal in every sense of the word. And here's Goods. Suddenly this game has really opened up. Adam Goods just outside the 50. Morton pushing back in the square.
Another just key centre clearance, Hutto. That's Essendon kicked the goal last time. Jack had the centre clearance. Swans kicked the goal. Same thing happened there.
Abbreviated the kick to the top of the square.
How clever is that?
Bird takes the mark.
And mind you, James Thurby sitting there going, how does a little bloke, when there's 30 players back in the goal square, take a one-on-one contested mark without anyone coming over the top? Adam Goods shaped as though he was going to go the long bomb, and it was left to Heppel on Bird, and he was just outbodied.
Bird.
Oh, shank!
That's got through, I think.
The goal umpire slipped over getting there.
How did it go through?
Oh, wow.
It all goes back to that centre clearance again. Another disappointing effort from the Bombers in the midfield, or glass half full for the Swans. Another really good response from the Swans midfield, centre bounce. Well done by Bird. He just guarded the dangerous area there, but I'm sure even Craig Bird would have expected a big Essendon.
Oh, look at the kick.
Kick is just snuck through. I'm sure even Craig Bird would have expected a big Essendon defender to come over the top and spoil that, so he would have been as surprised as anyone when he marked that football.
Suddenly a goal fest at the SCG. Craig Bird, here we go. He saw how far that went through by.
Another clearance.
And then forward again. At the back, Tom Mitchell. What a debut! What a debut for the son of a Sydney gun.
Well, can we sound like a broken record 3 times in a row, Ruse? It's no coincidence. Centre clearance goal, centre clearance goal, centre clearance goal.
Yeah, no, look, they're so crucial here.
It puts the defence under pressure straight away. That's just a clean tap to Jack, long kick. You've got one-on-ones everywhere, and 3 tools allow the ball to get over the back, and that's a goal out of nothing.
Yeah, it was a goal out of nothing. Just where the Bomber defender was there was a Bagley there. But really smart thinking from Tom Mitchell, and that's why he was such a highly touted young player. He's got real good instincts for the ball and knows what to do when he gets it. 12 disposals, he's had 7 score involvements.
That's more than anyone else on the ground, Rosie.
And he came on as a sub.
Yeah, how about that? McLean into the 50. It's out to 29 points. And the Swans look hungry for more at the moment. Storming forward. He's had another kick at goal. And this one misses.
Well, it's just come from relentless pressure, but very clear stoppage wins. And the Bombers have just got to have the mindset, okay, yep, the 30-point margin's opened up, but we can reel that in just as quickly if we just get a couple of clear stoppage wins and use the ball better going forward.
Mocking Bellchambers.
See Ted Richards floating back.
Stanton, Cremery up the ground, and good pressure is a constant.
I just want to go back to that free kick we saw about 5 minutes ago. The player comes sliding in, and now if Jared McVeigh doesn't hurdle, he gets his legs smashed into. So I'm glad the umpire paid that free kick.
I don't disagree, but can you actually get a free kick without contact?
That's it.
There's no contact, though.
I know, but should he have to risk getting a broken leg
but what is the
to get
rule?
the free kick?
I think the rule is contact, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an
so there's
interesting
no.
one.
That's actually not a rule.
Forceful
under my understanding. Forceful contact. I completely agree with what you're saying.
I like the interpretation of the umpire, but you're right. I think maybe a technicality that says it's not a free kick.
Canterbury has been restricted to just 10 disposals today. Takes it from half back. Hocking doing a good job on him, as he so often does. To half forward. Couple of bites to pay that one. It's a big Mumford.
Yeah, they've got Goddard back very quickly as a loose defender, the Bombers.
Jetta's deep. If it happens to come off hands, he puts it in his direction. The back of the pack. Bolton went for the one-hander. He lays the big tackle. O'Keefe, fresh from 14 tackles last week.
Hello, it's no coincidence. We saw Adam Goods pull his kick moments ago. We just saw Mumford do it.
Yep.
What was clever about it was he kept it away from Goddard. He kept it away from where they were outnumbered. And again, it doesn't matter who, but kick it to a one-on-one contest.
Ryder to ground. Parker, it's vacant there again in the goal square, which I know you've got to watch your man, but it seems on a wet day to have a vacant square, it's very dangerous.
Yeah, it is dangerous, but Goddard's an interesting one. I mean, we've talked a lot about sort of Stanton tonight, and Watson we know is developed into an absolute star. This is a night you'd love to see Brendan Goddard just stand up. Well, go forward of centre, kick a couple of goals. There's that open goal square.
And Mitchell set up another one, and Goods has finished it off. There's going to be a conversation here, but I'm pretty sure that's a goal.
Goal line review, we suspect.
Unless he thinks it's...
Oh, what part of the body did it hit him above the knee?
I think it's a goal.
But once again, Mitchell's had an impact on this score.
Anywhere below the knee is okay, so that's fine. That's come off the inside of the shin. That is fine.
And fine and dandy for Adam Goods. It's his third goal.
Yep, no problems there.
Well, this is just classic Swans football. It's a case of we're going to do what we do well over and over and over and over again. And if you could stop us, good luck. And at this stage, you'd have to say that the Bombers haven't been able to stop it. Open goal square again. Handball from Mitchell. Classic Sydney Swans football. And as much as you can plan for it, I'm sure they would. Where's Brendan Goddard there? Just lets him go through. I mentioned Goddard then. He's the one that needs to stand up in that case, make a tackle, and stop Adam from kicking a goal.
Well, the Bombers are the best team at scoring from turnovers. Sydney, one of the best at scoring from stoppages, and they're doing it very, very well tonight. The disappointing thing in that goal, I reckon, was that it went through Brendan Goddard, who was the loose behind the footy.
Well, we've talked all about the impact Kurt Tippett might have in the back half of the season, but what about the debut of Tom Mitchell for the Swans? Quick kick in forward from Crameri. Here's an opportunity for Bellchambers. Tried his hardest to get it to the boot. And again, all hands on deck back there. We're going to have a bounce. Maybe the conditions suit him a little bit rosy, but tell you what, what an impact.
14 disposals. Look, he's very clean. We've seen what he can do. He's very clean with the ball. He doesn't fumble.
9 score involvements. It's astonishing numbers.
Probably a chance of keeping his spot for next week, you'd think, Hutto?
I think he might just sneak in somewhere there.
Rough hope.
Just as Goods takes that over the line on the wing.
But it's one of those we've been talking about. We know it's been coming. He's an extremely talented young player. It's just a matter of getting the continuity in his training, in his playing, getting his body right, working on a couple of little areas that the Sydney coaches wanted him to work on, and hasn't the patience paid off?
Even this year's pre-season was restricted a bit by injury, Roosie. You'll know the details of that, but he's really been up and running for only just over a month and actually playing footy.
Yeah, he has. He's probably played 4 or 5 games, or full games, 4 full games. And look, he obviously was getting a bit frustrated because he's seeing his ex-teammates getting games for GWS, the Giants. He was in that mix to go out there, chose to go farther son, getting a little bit frustrated. But I think we're seeing now the advantage of going to a club that's an established footy club. You get good teaching from Adam Goods and Ryan O'Keefe and Kieran Jack, and you come in, you play your role very well, and you can see him now. Benny McGlynn talking to him, telling him where to go around a stoppage, and all of a sudden you come in and you slot straight in the team, 14 possessions, and you look like you've been out there for many years.
Well, his body size too, it looks well suited already, doesn't it, to AFL footy. Hanbury and the Swans hunting in numbers again and surging forward again. McGlynn with it, just a slight fumble. Mitchell laying a big tackle. He's hungry for more. Jetta of the Bombers back to the middle. Rampy versus Stanton, engaged illegally. Free kick to Stanton. It does give the Bombers time though. Stanton's to go and get his own footy.
Yeah, someone needs to go and stand the mark though. Otherwise he'll just play on. And it's Hanbury that comes across to do that.
The call for it long, but it's not anywhere near there.
Terrible kick.
And he can do it at both ends.
Well, we had a discussion with Dustin Fletcher after that too. He might have just suggested perhaps that's not where we want to kick the footy.
Jetta.
They're taking some time off the clock here, Hello, because the clock says it's over 30 minutes of football, but there's 5.5 minutes to go because of the stretcher. I'm not sure the Swans players know that yet.
Ooh, that hurt Stanton. Split him down the middle. You see in the bottom right screen, he's taken a while to get up, but he is now back into it again.
Adam Goods is coming off. I reckon he just copped one high there. Might have copped one right in the head.
Glenn takes it over the line. Everyone wants to go off.
Cop one in the eye, I think. See the doctor with him there, might have got a poke in the left eye.
So Sydney, with a devastating third quarter, has taken a 36-point lead here at the SCG. Adam Goods cops one and goes off for some respite, but he's been terrific since quarter time. McVeigh, the Bombers now, getting in each other's road. Good desperation for the footy. Scrappy affair.
See, when they tackle with a purpose, Sydney, don't they? They just assault the player with the ball.
Yeah. It's interesting. I read somewhere this week that someone talked about the Swans' tackles versus their stoppages and said they tackle a lot because of stoppages. They actually have stoppages because they're such a good tackling team. So it's actually the other way around. They're a very, very good tackling team, and that's why they do have stoppages.
5 goals, 2 to 2-2 for the quarter for the Swans. Myers handed it off casually. Nothing casual about what Winderlich had to experience. Morton helps to lock it in for the Swans. As Kingy mentioned, it's going to be a very long quarter here. 32 minutes gone.
Yeah.
Heppel. So still time for the Bombers to come right back hard. Ryder, left foot kick. Just need a stroke of luck on one of those long kicks. Need to find a way to get a goal.
One of the problems for the Bombers, though, is as they're getting a little bit more desperate to try and make something happen, players getting sucked up to the contest, which is allowing Sydney to drop off, get players behind the footy in defence, and also allow them to set up for a slingshot going the other way.
Yeah, you just continue to get more and more frustrated because you're right, you start to take some more risks. And we can see even now, if we look at the ground, you can see how open the Swans forward line is. So if you get a Lewis Jetta who can run past some of the, there it is there, you can see Lewis Jetta just left the screen. And that's where the Bombers have got to be really careful. I'd rather see the last Bomber player backward of the centre circle, Jace, not get sucked right up there. I'd rather see, it's probably not Stanton, I reckon it's Bagley just behind him or Hooker. I'd rather see them defensive side of the centre circle. So there's no opportunity whatsoever for Jetta to run past them.
Mumford to McVeigh, heaves it high and very wide.
When was the last time he kicked 2 out on the full in the quarter?
It wouldn't happen very often.
Just to let you know, there is some technical difficulties, so we're not receiving the feed from the official timekeepers at the moment. So it is very late in the quarter, 33.5 minutes, but still a few minutes to go. So still time for the Bombers, time for Goddard to salute.
Well, it hasn't been a huge night for Brendan Goddard, but when you need a goal kicked, he's the man you want with the ball in his hand. So he's the right player to have sweeping around the back to receive that hand pass, because he'll kick that snap 9 times out of 10. I don't know what Bell Chambers was doing. He went up 30 seconds before that ball got there, but there was some good clean-up work when the ball hit the deck, and that's a good finish. So again, they're showing that they're not going to go away. They've got to keep toiling, and sometimes the luck will change, and you'll get a couple in a row instead of a near miss. They become goals, and you build your confidence as you keep pushing.
I don't know, there's a lot of debate about Brendan Goddard, Jace, but the people that are probably a little bit critical of him would say that's what he needs to do more often. He needs to push forward of centre. He needs to push deep and kick goals. We all know what a terrific ball user he is, as you well mentioned, but he doesn't seem to get forward of centre often enough to put the pressure under the opposition. He no longer seems to get tagged because coaches tend to think, well, if he's backward of centre, he's a beautiful spot kick, he'll set things up. But I believe he's a far more dangerous player if he plays centre forward rather than centre back.
Now, Reid, is it fair to say that at 3/4 time, John Longmire just might remind them of what happened against the Dockers up here?
I would absolutely,
when they led by about this margin early in the last term, only to watch it disappear.
Well, I think it was about 15 minutes to go, and they were 27 points up from memory. So
James Hird might remind Essendon about
absolutely. Well, we saw Brenton Sanderson telling his players that North had coughed up some leads. So everyone's aware of patterns.
They'd be aware of it. And look, and that's not a pattern for the Swans. I mean, it's not the usual. So as a coach at 3/4 time, you're going to tell them anything that they might believe. So certainly the Swans are generally very hard to score against. But 2 weeks ago, 27 points up with about 15 minutes to go.
They've still had more inside 50s this quarter, even Essendon. 16 entries for 3 goals. And the Swans have
Well, I think it gets back to what Jace mentioned before, Hutto. You start to get a little bit desperate. You know, you get the inside 50s, you get the inside 50s, you get the inside 50s, and then you get dragged up the field, and then Sydney get you on the counter-attack.
Mumford out the back. Heppel. They get some system from here, the Bombers. Melcheski slapped it away. Fell for Hanbury. Never got a full handle on it. Fletcher, we've seen him try all sorts of things tonight. That's a good old-fashioned mark.
Yeah. Right, they've got to make this count because it's one of the few times they've had space and the opportunity to run and carry. Big floating handballs are dangerous.
So clock is counting up. We're still not quite at three-quarter time. Melkson would be a great time for a Bomber mark. I'm sure the Swans fans be hoping for a desperate defensive effort, and they get it. And it's over the line and out of bounds. Gambleton subbed off at half-time.
Only had the one possession. It's a tough night for marking forwards.
Didn't want to do up the subs vest. Here's a quick kick away from O'Keefe. It was on the full. Yes, it was.
Given from an identical spot. Now, he was outside the boundary line. What was the issue there? He's kicking from exactly the same spot.
In fact, wider.
I don't understand.
And he has ramped it up. He's missed the other one to the left. This one was curling. Oh, what a kick from Hibbard.
Oh. He's roosted that.
I'll tell you what, that's as good a goal as you'll see. I mean, you talk about goals of the year, and we often see goals, Hutto, the bounce and the spectacular goals. I'm not sure you're going to see a better goal than this year.
He got close to the man on the mark. It went very, very high, but it just kept going.
That was an extraordinary kick for goal. You're talking about a wet ball, you're talking about outside the boundary line, you're talking outside 50. And he did. It was a bit of a looper too. Look how close he got to the man on the mark. I mean, that is an extraordinary goal under the circumstances.
Massive follow through. Look how high it's gone.
Yeah. That's an up and under. That's a great goal.
What a path to goal it was. Suddenly it's back to 24 points. It's reachable as far as the Bombers will think, and it certainly is. We've reached 38 minutes. We had the big long delay for the Courtney Dempsey injury. That's why it's gone so long. Here, fans still urging them on. Fumbles continue. McVeigh, sure hands. And a decent kick into the 50. Mumford, Morton in the right spot. And his skimming kick. Offline. 25. Between Sydney and Essendon. And the siren finally sounds for three-quarter time at the SCG. What a quarter of football. Players will have worked hard. They'll get a quick rest and they'll come back, and let's see whether Essendon can challenge in this last term. Sydney 11-10-76, Essendon 7-9-51. The match of the round. Are we headed for a thrilling finish? We'll find out after this.